Hey there, it's Dr. Mirhom coming at you for a special NBA edition of our little mental health chats here. As you see, I'm wearing my Knicks shirt, just representing playoffs are coming up. And I just wanted to share with you something that's been on my mind for some time. And it starts kind of a little story that happened to me at a Knicks game one time. Okay, the Knicks were playing a team. It was the Cavs. And the Knicks fans, as you know, are the nicest people in the world. And if the other team is scoring a point or two, they're going to let them hear it. But what happened here was kind of interesting is as fans started to heckle one guy, Kevin Love, and started talking about his mental health. It was like a really weird low blow, saying, "Oh, go get depressed, you loser. Go have a panic attack." This kind of stuff. And I was really curious to see what's going to happen next. Like, what are the rest of the fans going to do around us here? Are they going to like go on, cheer him on, or what? And I was super surprised, pleasantly so. Never been prouder to be a Knicks fan in this moment. That the other fans around me turned to these two guys and were like, no, 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 we don't do that. You can talk about their mom, you could say all kinds of terrible things about them, but that's off limits. That's out of bounds. But they said it like screaming, right? Because there are other people around. And it just made me think, like we often think about whatever our favorite team is, our favorite player. We cheer for the people we love. We cheer against the ones we don't like. But we don't think about the fact that mental health, a player's mental health, can be an actual like injury, right? And that it's not something that's okay for us to make fun of or something. It's okay for us to sort of berate because it's serious stuff. There this season there were all these conversations like, oh, one player, Kyrie took like a couple of days. Like, what's wrong with Kyrie, right? And I watch ESPN probably more often than I should, and I hear conversation like, oh, he should retire. He's just too much in his head. What's wrong with him? What does he think he can take a day and relax and do whatever? And in the playoffs last year, what's wrong with Paul George? And then he even admitted, he said, my mind was not where it should be. I was stressed out, living in the bubble. The bubble was a tough place. So I just wanted to kind of chat with you here. Curious to get your thoughts. Do you ever think about the idea of your favorite player, being injured mentally, that their mind may not be okay? And does that allow us to give them a bit of like an empathy response as opposed to saying perform, perform, perform? And the flip side of it, one of the amazing things that I saw this year as a psychiatrist is seeing one of my favorite players in the league, Julius Randle, talking about the evolution of his game and what allowed him to go from, pretty good player last year to people are actually talking about MVP conversations this year and leading the Knicks to a fourth seed in the East. And he spoke about his mental health. He spoke about the mindset, not just kind of getting treated for something that was bad, having panic attacks, not having them anymore, but more so, he spoke about how I don't get down on myself at every shot like I used to. And that was with a lot of practice from a psychologist, someone who worked with him personally. Shout out to the Knicks mental health staff. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. If you're an NBA fan like me, if you watch too much of this stuff, what do you think about the idea of a player being injured mentally? What do you think about being in the position where you heckle a player or you see a player being heckled for their mental health? Does that feel like weird? Does that feel like out of bounds? How would you have felt if you were sitting in the stands, the way I was this year? And I encourage you just for us to think about mental health is beyond just not having bad things happen, not having panic attacks or not being depressed. But there's actually a standard above that, which is thriving, right? Being able to perform well and do the things that we love and we want to do to the best of our abilities. Enjoy the NBA playoffs.